sister, where Sylvanas is by herself. When Sylvanas arrived at Brightwater Lake in Terracefall Glades, near the Undercity, she found her sister waiting. "I got your note," Sylvanas said, "and I brought horses for us." Sylvanas had not expected Verisa to return to the courtroom after the respite. She had just watched her husband die, or more correctly, watched her husband be turned into a pure arcane manifestation, then die. But Sylvanas had been surprised at the note, which said only Brightwater Lake, "I want to ride." Sylvanas took it as a good sign that Verisa had suggested meeting at a place so deep in the Forsaken Lands. She was proud of her sister for even knowing about the site and for getting to it unspotted and unscathed. The Windrunner, Moons, were both superior rangers. Verisa's requested activity, though, was not a surprise. They had loved riding together as children. Verisa especially had taken to it. So, they meet, and she brings her mounts, and Verisa says, "They're skeletons, horse skeletons. Few living things will bear me willingly, sister, or even bear being near me. You will need to learn to ride these if you are to come live with me in the Undercity. I promise you, they will obey." So here we see what Sylvanas is hoping. She thinks that Verina's back with her now, and she's going to come live with her in the Undercity. And, she made no move to get up. Sylvanas dropped the reins of the two horses, knowing they would go nowhere, and sat beside her sister. Awkwardly, she asked, "How are you?" It had been so long since another's welfare had even mattered. Verina closed her eyes, but tears slipped from beneath her lashes. "I miss him so much, Sylvanas, so very much." Sylvanas had no comfort to give. She couldn't even reanimate Ronan's corpse for her sister. She sat quietly. "I'm so happy we're killing Garrosh," Verisa said. "I hope whatever poison you have is slow and painful. I want him to suffer as he has made me suffer. I am glad I saw what I did today. It is fuel for my fire. I never want to have to see that again, even think about his death again. I want nothing to do with that world anymore." "Good," said Sylvanas, withdrawing a small vial from her pouch. "I think I can make all your dreams come true. This tiny vial," and she talks about the poison. "One drop on each segment of the sunfruit, and Garrosh Hellscream will be no more." Verisa clutched the vial tightly, her other hand closing around the locket that draped her slim throat. Sylvanas had returned to Verisa's necklace to her, and both sisters now routinely wore the jewelry during their time together. "Thank you, sister. I knew I could count on you." Sylvanas smiled. "You have no idea how much it pleases me that you did. And as for leaving that world, I open mine to you. Is that why you wish to meet here?" It was becoming too sad to keep meeting at the spire," she said. "I wanted to start investigating where I will soon be living." Sylvanas had to smile at the choice of words, but said nothing. The strange phantom pains were increasing, but Sylvanas ignored them with the same steely will that had won her freedom from Arthas. For the first time since she had marched on her people, leaving behind a dead scar like the trail from a slug, Sylvanas was happy. She had lost so very much, and it seemed to her that fate had delivered this unexpected gift, both for her personally and for any attempt to obtain more power within the Horde. She and her sister would indeed be unstoppable. Violence and horror had brought Sylvanas to the place she was today, and the same had driven Verisa to seek her out. How good it would be, she mused, to have someone she trusted, truly trusted, who did not merely obey her orders out of fear or personal gain, someone who thought, felt as she did, and it seemed as though Verisa longed for this as well. Now, Sylvanas had not told Verisa everything, of course. One could not be equal to the Banshee Queen unless one was oneself a Banshee. Her people would resent having to obey a living thing. But she would make her sister's death so much gentler, easier than her own had been. kind Verisa would merely go to sleep and awaken beautifully transformed, reborn with insight and ambition that one who breathed could never fathom. It may amuse you to learn that I know how to make green curry fish, Verisa said, carefully tucking the precious poison into a bag. You are more trusted in the kitchens, it would seem. Yes, another day or two, and then... Sylvanas, can it truly be this easy? I keep feeling something will go wrong somehow. Nothing will go wrong, little moon, Sylvanas reassured her. We have not been given this moment. We have bought it with sweat and tears and torment. We have earned the right to win this victory. We can imagine his death, that Sylvanas said, and that will have to do. What we will see is his corpse and the chaos that his death will cause. And then one day we are able to claim credit for for our kill. Those who were too slow or too timid will envy us. Verisa gazed out over the lake, arms wrapped around her knees. I had always thought these lands were dark and sad, but there is a strange kind of beauty in the darkness, is there not? There is, Sylvanas replied. I am no night elf, but they understand this. There is a sweetness and purity in night, in the time when the moon shines and the sun hides its face. There is beauty in death. Do you think they will accept our decision to bring me in to rule alongside you? The Forsaken or the Horde? Either, both. Perhaps not at first, Sylvanas said. They will need a little time to grow accustomed to the idea, but soon they will learn to value you and be glad of your presence in the Undercity. I am not worried about myself, Verisa continued. I am concerned for the boys. It would be strange for them. Sylvanas was taken completely by surprise at the statement. Was Verisa really thinking of... No, that was impossible. She chose her words carefully. It would, she agreed, as if the idea had just occurred to her. They would have no friends their own age, and it would be difficult to explain to them why. They might be very unhappy. The Undercity is no place for children, sister. Verisa looked away. Sylvanas watched her like a hawk, cursing herself that she had not appreciated that Verisa was not just a widow, but the sole parent to 2 children. This was the first time Verisa had mentioned them since the sisters had begun their secret meetings. It was as if, with their father's death, Verisa could not think of anything other than revenge. No, Verisa sighed. No, I suppose it's not. Her hand dropped to the grass, and she picked up a pine cone absently. Something in her voice alerted Sylvanas. Of course, if you really want them to come along, I would do my best to make them welcome. They are, after all, my closest kin, older than you. She shook her head. No, you are right. I cannot imagine it would be a good place for them. They are better off where they are. Abruptly, Verisa crushed the cone in her hand. The scales cracked and fell off as she tossed it away. Sylvanas was reassured. Verisa understood. Sylvanas was glad. She would just as soon not have to murder her own nephews. Nonetheless, she would feel easier when her sister was safely dead. Then they could be together. Forever. There is a scene later where she cries when it all falls apart, and Verisa lets her down. Verisa lets her down, and she realizes that she can never ever trust her family again. She'd given it like one last go. And that is the last you see of Sylvanas' motivation until we see her in the cinematic. So, I haven't decided yet what I think Sylvanas' motivation is in these events. I certainly think she feels it's deserved. That is something I do believe. She feels her Warchief status is deserved. I think she's not expecting to come about it this honorably, so I wonder if that is affecting how she feels about the final outcome of it. But I'm a Sylvanas fan, and I believe there's a lot of humanity that was left in her that this final betrayal by Varisa just basically knocked off forever. So I guess that's where I stand on Sylvanas at the moment. I'll serve her. I'll fight for the Horde. And also, I don't feel like I'm at war with the Alliance at the moment. At the moment, I think she wants, when she says, let's avenge our Warchief, I think she means against the Legion. I don't think she means against the Alliance. I think the Alliance feels betrayed by the Horde, and that might influence matters to come. At least that was sort of my take on that. But I'm an opinionated person, and maybe there's more to it than that. So if you didn't know about Sylvanas, maybe now you do. A little bit, at least. These are level 12. I'm 10. She's just a banker. I don't even know what her spells are. Does she have like a soul stone? I want. Not enough people are Sylvanas lore nuts. But I'd love to hear what. No, she does not have anything even remotely resembling a soul stone. But here's Windrunner Village. So this is where they, oh yeah, I'm gonna die. So this is, where they, I don't even have any health stones. Go, ride, you silly motorcycle, ride. This is where they grew up, and this is where they went to meet. And I guess they remember it as a completely different place from what we sort of remember from Burning Crusade when the Blood Elves came about. There's the spire, and yeah. I've tried so long to get epic quality of these stupid spirit crabs. I still don't have a larva. Maybe I'll stick around after. Okay, so yeah, that's an insight into Sylvanas. Thanks for watching. I think Sylvanas is motivated. I put a poll on there up here on the right that ask what you think. I am interested in hearing what people think. But